So you're planning on buying your first home. Only thing is you don't know where to start, how to start, or even if it's the right time to start. All you know is that it can be fun, exciting, but what you probably don't know is that it's also stressful and complicated. So in this video, I'm gonna give you 6 tips on how you can go through the process stress-free and ultimately reach your home buying goal. So let's get it. What's up, y'all? My name is Tavonte Howard, real estate broker and investor here in Chicago. And on this channel, my goal is to help you build generational wealth through real estate. So before I hop into these tips, I want to tell you a story. And this is the reason why I'm doing these tips, because I want everybody to know the same knowledge that I gave him when it came down to buying a home. So I met this guy, right? And I met him because I needed internet set up at our Airbnb. And he was there to set up the Airbnb because he works for the internet company. So the guy gets there early than expected, and I got there a little bit later than when he got there. So when I got there, he was already sitting in his car. He was waiting on me to open the door. As I open the door, I see him walk up. He looked like a younger guy, like my age, and he's seen me take the keys out of the lockbox for the Airbnb. So he asked me like, hey, you just moved in? I was like, kinda, sorta, I actually got an Airbnb here. He was like, oh yeah, that's cool. He said, he said, it's crazy because I actually did internet for the person who stays upstairs. So as we proceed, I go into the house, I take him in the house and I show him where we need the internet hooked up, and he was like, okay, perfect. All I need is to hook up and route up the wires to go to this box. Everything will be done within an hour. So I was like, okay, cool, that's perfect, right? So I go back outside, I told him to call me if you need me, and then I'm right here outside and I can just help you do anything you need to be done, right? So, real cool guy. And as he called me in to say, okay, I'm wrapping up, I got everything done, he said, man, I heard you mention that you had an Airbnb, like how do you get started into that? So I had to tell him like, well, the thing is, not only that I do Airbnb, I am a real estate broker, so I help people buy homes, right? And he was like, yeah, because I've been thinking about buying a home, but I don't know where to start, I don't know how to start. So I said, well, look, what's stopping you from buying a home? And he said, honestly, I don't have enough money. He said, in fact, can you give me some tips on what I can do to save up money or to even start the process? I said, yeah, man, I can give you some tips, but before I give you any tip, I want you to know why you want to buy a home or why you want to buy investment property, because he said he was looking to do something like an investment property. And then he was like, man, that's a good question, right? So we exchanged information. He ended up shooting me a text. I ended up giving him the tips afterwards on what he should do. But at the same time, I had to think about like, man, it's a lot of people out here that really don't know anything about the process. But unfortunately, we get miseducated or we just have the lack of education in general. So that being said, let's hop into tip number 1 is know your why, okay? Same thing I told that guy. I can give you all the tips in the world, but if you don't know why you want to buy property, you will never accomplish that goal of actually buying property. Simply because, let's say you just scroll down social media, you see somebody else buy property, and be like, you know what, I just want to buy a property just because I seen it on social media. And you go start the process and you find something, almost everything you want, but you turn it down simply because you don't have a strong why, to the point where it's like, I'm gonna get it done no matter what. Some people just want to do it because they see other people do it. And in reality, that's not the best reason to do it. Like when me and my wife was buying our property, we knew we wanted to buy investment property. We knew location was not the best way to approach it. We knew that the best way to approach it was make sure that the property has income and just make sure it's at least comfortable for us to live in for a short period of time. Now, by us knowing that why, we was able to accomplish that goal, okay? So let's go to tip number 2. Be open-minded. Like the guy I was talking to that worked for the internet company, I asked what type of property you want. He said, man, I want to do an investment property. I said, okay, if you want to do an investment property, is it a certain type of investment property? Are you looking for like a multi-unit? Are you looking to do the same thing as far as like buy property and do Airbnb? What are you looking to do? And he was just like, I really don't know. I said, well, are you open-minded to taking different options? He was like, yeah. At that point, it shows me, okay, like once you're open-minded, you can better approach your goal, okay? You could potentially be holding yourself back by just sticking with one type of property based off the criteria that you want, when you can be open-minded and possibly find a better deal in a different neighborhood or find a better property with some stuff that you don't like, but it got most of the things that you like. So I always tell my clients, be open-minded. Don't just close it off to, I want this, 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 and this, and this. And if I don't have this one little thing, but I have all these things, I don't want it. Could be losing yourself time and you could be losing yourself money sometimes. Now let's talk about tip number 3. The third tip I would give give you is to have all your documents in order, okay? When you apply for a loan, they're gonna have you go through a process called underwriting. And in this process, they're gonna do a deep dive into you and to make sure that you have everything you need to qualify for this loan. They're gonna ask for your W-2s, they're gonna ask for your tax returns, they're gonna ask for your bank statements, they're gonna ask for your pay stubs, they're gonna ask for a lot of documents. All you need to know is when it comes down to your W-2s, your tax returns, your bank statements, and pay stubs, make sure you have those things in a folder so that way this process can go by very smooth, because this could be one of the longer process, depends on how organized you are as a borrower to get these documents in quickly. So tip number 3, get all your documents in order. Now let's go to tip number 4, and I can't stress this tip. Listen to the professional. Most of the time when I first speak with a client, I always ask a couple questions. And one of those questions is, have you already spoke with any professionals about buying your home? And sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no, or they would say this answer, and this would tell me a lot. No, I haven't talked to any professionals, but I have an uncle, sister, brother, cousin who bought a property a couple years ago, and they've been telling me this, and this, and this, and this. Now, I'm not against having a family member help, or a friend, or whoever bought a property help you throughout the process. But what I do want you to know is always listen and consult with a professional, because markets change. This time when your sister, brother, cousin bought a property 2-3 years ago does not reflect how the market is today. So what you need to do is consult with a professional. Ask your lawyers, ask your realtors, ask your lenders about the market right now. You can even ask them about, hey, is this interest, is it the right time to buy, or anything that when it comes down to you buying a home, because at the end of the day, I always tell my clients this too, you are going to be the person who pays for your mortgage, nobody else. Now, unless it's somebody else paying for the mortgage and they already bought a mortgage before, that's a different story. But if it's just you paying for the mortgage, consult with a professional. Make sure you listen to the professional, because that can be a determining factor if you buy a property or not. Now let's go to tip number 5. Okay, now this is a good one, and this is a very, very important one. Get pre-approved before you look for a property. I might rant off on this one, okay? So look, I see it all the time. Somebody say, hey man, hey Tavonte, I want to buy a home. What I got to do? I say, okay, well, first you need to know why you want to buy. Second, you need to go get pre-approved, right? So they'll be like, okay, cool, man. I'm gonna get pre-approved. I'm gonna fill out the application, but I don't want to get any inquiries on my credit. I just want to go look for homes. And I look at them, I say, well, first, lenders don't care about the inquiries. They care about your debt to income ratio. They care about your assets. They care about how much you got down. They care about your credit. They care about those things, okay? They care if you got your documents in order, your W-2s, tax returns, stuff like that. They don't care about the inquiries that's on your credit. So do not be afraid to get approved or get denied by filling out an application. This one step is probably the first step you should do in buying a property. But most people are afraid to take this step because they think about inquiries or my credit not good enough and all those things. At the end of the day, let's say you got a 580, right? You think that you got to have a 700 credit score, and that's just not true. When you buy a home, you don't need a 700 credit score to buy a home, okay? Let's just lay that out there. Let's say for whatever reason, you fill out the application to get pre-approved and you don't get pre-approved. If you have a good lender, by the way, which I do have a good lender, my wife is a good lender and she's working at Guarantee Rate, I believe, application in the link. Let's say you do have a good lender. What a lender would do is they're going to do two things. They're going to either send you a letter in your email saying, hey, we've been declined because of this reason, and you can take those reasons and get them fixed. And they're also going to call you and break it down to you exactly what you can do to get approved. What a good lender would do would tell you exactly what to pay off to get approved so that your credit will go up. They'll also tell you exactly how much you can have down, or they can even tell you how much you can get as a gift. They can tell you all these different things that you can do to get approved. By not applying will hurt you versus applying and getting a denied. Because if you apply and get denied, you still not only tried, that rhymes, but you also got the education on how to get approved. So that's a big step, and I see it every day. People will be like, hey man, I want to apply, but right now, man, my credit not good. And I just be like, okay, well, what is your credit? Man, I got a 581. Well, you can get approved based off credit. What about your work history? 2 years work history. What about your how much you got down? I mean, I got a little bit of money down. I probably want to save up some more money. That's another one. You don't need all the money in the world. All you got to do is have a 640. You get qualified for down payment assistance. So it's a lot of things you can do and a lot of things you can learn just by applying and getting pre-approved before you start looking for a home. All right, that was my little rant. Let's get back on track. Tip number 6, don't focus on the interest rates, focus on the monthly payment. And the reason I say this is because in real estate, interest rates are gonna change. They're gonna go up and down. Okay? I always ask, what monthly payment are you comfortable, not stressed, comfortable paying a month? And let's say you say $1,400 a month, right? Okay, so if you comfortable paying $1,400 a month, if your interest rate, I always say outrageous interest rate number. If your interest rate, and it's not like that right now, it's 10% interest, and you got a $1,400 a month payment, and you have the home that you like, would you buy that home still? And they say, yeah. I say, okay. Now let me ask you this then. Let's say the interest rate change on that same home with that same $1,400 payment, and the interest rates in the next market goes down to 3%. What you can do is refinance and not only have a lower payment than what you are comfortable paying, but you also still have the home that you want. Now, if you focus on the interest rate, and I see this all the time, let's say you upset that the interest rate is 8%, and at this point you just like, I'm not buying it because the interest rate at 8%, and I'm not gonna do that. That's just not what I wanna do, okay? And now, I always ask, okay, the interest rate at 8%, but you're telling me that you're gonna pay a $2,000 mortgage, and it's the same with that 8%. Are you sure you just don't wanna do it because of the mortgage payments, or is this because of the interest rate? Because the interest rate is too high. That's what they always say, right? I say, well, okay, so what do you plan on doing in the future? I'm gonna wait till the interest rates go down. So here's the thing about that though. The interest rates probably will go down. Let's be honest. Eventually one day it might go down. But that one day, nobody knows. But you know what's not gonna go down? The purchase price. So you just saved on interest rate, but the principal of the same home that you wanted to buy just went up higher because the property value went up higher. And now that you have to pay more in principal, you still have to pay more monthly payment. So at the end of the day, you just wasted a lot of time waiting when you could have just bought the interest rate that you had that was offered and wait till it went down, refinance, and kind of had a lower monthly payment than what you was comfortable with. Now you're in a whole uncomfortable situation because you want to wait on the interest rate. And honestly, that's not a smart thing to do. So that's enough of my tips today. I hope you like these tips. If you like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will be dropping a video every week, and let's get it.